We're removing life support at 3 p.m. Her husband already agreed via satellite phone from Afghanistan. My mother-in-law Catherine announced to the doctor while I lay trapped in my own body, able to hear everything but unable to move or speak. The machines around me beeped steadily, the only proof I was still alive, while my husband's family discussed dividing up his military death benefits like vultures over carrion. What they didn't know was that I'd been recording every conversation in this hospital room for the past week, and I was about to wake up. Mrs. Morrison, are you absolutely certain Lieutenant Morrison agreed to this? Dr. Patel asked hesitantly. The last communication we have from him was requesting we do everything possible. That was before the doctors told him she was brain dead. Catherine cut him off smoothly. He called me personally. Said he couldn't bear the thought of his wife living as a vegetable. He wants us to let her go with dignity. Lies. All lies. James would never give up on me. We'd made promises to each other before his deployment. Fight for each other, always. But I couldn't scream the truth. I could only listen as my father-in-law Robert added his voice to the deception. We have power of attorney, Robert said, producing documents. With James deployed and unable to return, we're her next of kin. We've discussed it as a family, and we all agree, it's time. Such a tragedy, Catherine sighed theatrically. First losing our dear daughter-in-law, and then James will receive the news that he's now a widower. At least the military benefits will help him start over when he comes home. If he comes home, Robert muttered. This might break him. Might be better if. Robert, Catherine hissed, but I heard the implication. They were hoping for a 2-for-1 tragedy. A daughter-in-law they'd never wanted gone, and maybe their son too, leaving all those death benefits in their control. I'll need to review the power of attorney documents, Dr. Patel said, and attempt to contact Lieutenant Morrison one more time. That won't be necessary, Catherine's sister Margaret chimed in. I hadn't even realized she was in the room. We've already started making arrangements. The funeral home, the memorial service. James asked us to handle everything so he could focus on his mission. He was very specific, Catherine added. No autopsy. Quick cremation. He wants to scatter her ashes when he returns. Cremation. No autopsy. How convenient for them if there were any suspicious circumstances around my brain death. The fear that had been building for days crystallized into terror. They weren't just going to let me die. They were going to make sure no one could ever question it. I still need to follow protocol, Dr. Patel insisted. The ethics committee. Doctor, look at her, Robert interrupted. She's been in a coma for 3 weeks. No improvement. You said yourself the brain scans show minimal activity. Why prolong the inevitable? The scans show some activity, Dr. Patel corrected. Which is why we've continued treatment. There's still hope. False hope, Catherine snapped. You're torturing my son with false hope. Every day she's kept alive is another day he can't grieve, can't move forward. We're his parents. We know what's best for him. And what's best is to let her go, Margaret added. Today, before James does something stupid like request emergency leave. He needs to focus on staying alive over there, not rushing back for a lost cause. I tried desperately to move, to speak, to give any sign that I was aware. But my body remained frozen, locked in syndrome keeping me prisoner while they plotted my murder. I'll need to consult with the hospital administrator, Dr. Patel said finally. This is highly irregular. What's irregular is keeping a brain-dead woman on life support against her family's wishes, Robert threatened. Our lawyer is prepared to file an injunction if necessary. Don't make this harder than it needs to be. I heard Dr. Patel's footsteps retreat, the door closing behind him. The moment he was gone, the masks came off completely. Finally, Catherine breathed. 3 weeks of playing the grieving mother-in-law. I'm exhausted. The life insurance alone is worth $400,000, Margaret said. Plus the military death benefits. That's another $100,000. Split 3 ways. 4 ways, a new voice corrected. James's brother Michael. I hadn't known he was there either. I get a cut too. You didn't do anything, Catherine protested. I'm the one who made sure James couldn't be reached, Michael said smugly. My buddy at the communication center has been blocking calls. As far as James knows, his precious wife is recovering nicely. My heart monitor spiked slightly at this revelation. They'd isolated James completely, feeding him lies while they prepared to murder me. Careful, Robert warned. Her heart rate increased. Involuntary response, Catherine dismissed. The doctors said brain-dead patients can still have reflexes. She can't hear us. But I could. Every horrible word. The papers are ready, Margaret said, rustling documents. Power of attorney, DNR, consent for removal of life support, organ donation waivers. No organs, Catherine said firmly. Too many questions. Clean cremation, closed casket service with a nice photo. Much simpler. What about her family? Michael asked. What family? Robert scoffed. Parents dead, no siblings. That's why James was perfect for her. No interference. Just how we like it. Remember when she tried to turn him against us? Catherine laughed coldly. Telling him we were toxic, that he needed boundaries. This is what happens when wives try to come between sons and their mothers. The deployment was a blessing, Margaret agreed. Gave us the perfect opportunity. All those sleeping pills in her coffee helped too, Michael added casually. The heart monitor spiked again as rage flooded through me. They drugged me. This wasn't an accident or illness. They deliberately poisoned me into this coma. Michael, Catherine hissed. Not here. What? She's brain dead, remember? Besides, it's not like we gave her enough to kill her. Just enough to cause a little accident. That fall down the stairs did the real damage. Shut up, Robert commanded. The walls have ears in hospitals. If only they knew how right he was. My phone, tucked in the drawer beside my bed, had been recording for 7 days straight on the app James had installed before deployment. Just in case, he'd said, paranoid about leaving me alone with his family. They play nice when I'm around, but I know how they really feel about you. The door opened again. Multiple footsteps. Mrs. Morrison, Dr. Patel's voice was strained. The administrator has reviewed your documents. While they appear to be in order, we'd still like to make one more attempt to contact Lieutenant Morrison. That won't be necessary, Catherine interrupted. We're his parents. We know what he wants. Ma'am, removing life support is not a decision we take lightly. Then don't. I managed to croak, my voice barely a whisper but definitely audible. The room exploded into chaos. She's awake. Dr. Patel rushed to my side. Mrs. Morrison, can you hear me? Every word, I whispered, my throat raw from weeks of intubation. Every single word. Catherine's face went from red to white to gray in seconds. She's delirious. Brain damaged. She doesn't know what she's saying. Check, I forced out, recording app. My phone. No. Robert lunged for the bedside drawer, but Dr. Patel was faster, blocking him. Security, the doctor called. I need security in room 314 immediately. This is a misunderstanding, Catherine tried desperately. We thought she was brain dead. The doctor said. I said she had minimal brain activity, not no activity, Dr. Patel corrected coldly. And I certainly never authorized removal of life support. The recordings, I whispered again. 7 days. Every conversation. Michael was edging toward the door, but security arrived, blocking his exit. Nobody leaves this room, Dr. Patel commanded. Nurse Chin, please retrieve Mrs. Morrison's phone and contact the police. I believe we have an attempted murder. This is ridiculous. Catherine shrieked. We're her family. No. I managed, my voice getting stronger. James is my family. You're just the people who tried to kill me for his insurance money. As the nurse handed my phone to Dr. Patel, I gave her the passcode. The recording app showed 168 hours of continuous audio. The last hour alone would be enough to put them all away. 3 weeks of playing the grieving mother-in-law. Dr. Patel quoted Catherine's earlier words as he scrolled through the recordings. The life insurance alone is worth $400,000. His face hardened. And this, all those sleeping pills in her coffee helped too. I want a lawyer, Robert demanded. You'll need one, I said, my strength returning with each word. For attempted murder, fraud, forgery, and whatever else the prosecutor can think of. The next hours blurred together. Police, detectives, doctors, nurses, all listening in horror to the recordings. Catherine sobbing fake tears, claiming misunderstanding. Robert demanding lawyers. Margaret trying to claim she was just going along with family. Michael finally admitting to blocking communications with James. Through it all, I kept asking for my husband. Please, I begged anyone who would listen. He doesn't know I'm alive. He thinks I'm dying. Finally, 12 hours after I woke up, they got through. I was propped up in bed, still weak but determined, when the video call connected. James's face filled the screen, haggard and drawn. Emma? Baby. They said God, they said you were. I'm alive, I sobbed. I'm alive and I'm awake and I love you. They told me you were brain dead. Mom said you wouldn't want to live that way. She said, his voice broke. I've been trying to get emergency leave, but they kept saying the communication systems were down. Your brother made sure of that. I explained everything, watching his expression shift from relief to confusion to murderous rage. I'm going to kill them, he said flatly. When I get home, I'm going to. No, I interrupted. You're going to let the justice system handle it. We have everything recorded. They're all going to prison. They drugged you. They pushed you down the stairs. They tried to murder my wife for money. His voice was deadly calm, scarier than shouting would have been. And they failed, I reminded him. I'm alive. You still have a wife to come home to. Focus on that. We talked for an hour, the hospital giving us privacy. He told me about the fake updates Michael had been sending, that I was recovering, then that I'd taken a turn for the worse, preparing him for the inevitable. All lies designed to keep him from asking too many questions. I knew something was wrong, he said. But I couldn't, the mission. I couldn't just leave. I know, baby. That's what they counted on. Your sense of duty. By the time we hung up, Catherine, Robert, Margaret, and Michael had all been arrested. The recordings revealed not just the attempt on my life, but years of financial fraud. They'd been siphoning money from James's accounts, taking out credit cards in his name, claiming benefits they weren't entitled to. Dr. Patel sat with me after everyone left. How long were you aware? About a week, I admitted. I could hear everything but couldn't move or speak. Locked-in syndrome, right? He nodded. We see it sometimes with traumatic brain injuries. The fact that you recovered is remarkable. Fear is a hell of a motivator, I said. When you hear people planning your murder, you find strength you didn't know you had. The recording app, he mused. That was brilliant. My husband's idea. He never trusted his family completely. Said they smiled too much when he wasn't looking. I managed a weak laugh. Guess he was right. The next months were a blur of recovery and legal proceedings. Catherine got 15 years for attempted murder. Robert got 12 as an accomplice. Michael got 8 for tampering with military communications and conspiracy. Margaret got 5 for fraud and conspiracy. James came home to a wife who could walk, talk, and testify against his entire family. The betrayal nearly broke him, but we had each other. That was enough. The life insurance and military benefits they'd tried to steal became evidence in their trials. We donated most of it to a charity for wounded veterans. Seemed fitting, considering they'd tried to make me one of the casualties of James's service. They never loved me, James said one night, holding me as we watched the news coverage of the sentencing. They loved your money, I corrected. But I love you. The real you. That's the difference. We moved across the country after the trials, starting fresh where the Morrison name meant nothing. James cut all ties with his family, choosing the wife who'd literally come back from the dead for him over the blood relatives who'd tried to put her there. Sometimes I still wake up paralyzed, trapped in nightmares where I can't move or speak while Catherine discusses my funeral arrangements. But then James holds me, reminds me I'm safe, and I remember. I woke up. I spoke up. I survived. And every word of their confession was caught on tape. My own personal resurrection recorded in digital clarity, proof that sometimes the best revenge is simply refusing to die on someone else's schedule. They thought they were signing papers to claim his military benefits. Instead, they signed their own arrest warrants, one recorded word at a time.